Have you ever tried to read your fortune from a candle flame? No, never. But I'm gonna have a try now. The candle tells me that everything will be fine. It shows me that I have a bright and promising future. The candle foretells me this. Huntington's disease. Huntington's, or as it's called in Russia, Huntington's chorea, is a progressive hereditary neurological disease characterized by chronic hyperkinesia and cognitive disorders. Huntington's was described by 3 generations of doctors, all 3 bearing the last name of Huntington. They examined 12 generations of one American family. The classic description of this disease was proposed by George Huntington's grandson in 1872. The main Huntington's manifestation is uncontrolled compulsive movements. Daily, I'm guided by a wise phrase. The main thing isn't how many years we live, but how we live. And this phrase helps me to live and enjoy my life. I enjoy every moment of it. I'm happy when it's raining, when the weather's bad. For me, the weather's always good. When someone says, "Oh, it's so cold, it's raining," I always say, "Everything's fine." Is there such a thing as awkward questions for you, and will you be able to answer them? No such thing, and of course I will answer them. So for you, there are no awkward questions. No. When you learned about the disease, how did it make you feel? Are you shooting? Are you shooting? DNA test results. I'd received an email with the results. Irina is a carrier of the disease. When I saw the results, I started crying. I was hysterical. Naturally, when someone's upset, they cry, they feel frustrated, they worry. This is our life. These are our emotions. You can't escape from them. I cried and I was worried, but that only lasted for about a week, because by that time there was already the internet. Huntington's disease. Is it true that the changes that a Huntington's patient notices in their physical condition gradually leads to their death? Yes. In fact, this disease is one of the most severe diseases that we neurologists face. It is slow but progressive. At what age can a genetic carrier reveal this disease? It's possible at any age. It depends on the severity of the mutation. The severity can be determined by the number of CAG repeats. Normally, a person has 35 repeats or less. If they have 36 repeats or more, then they have Huntington's. Why can't a person with Huntington's control their movements and emotions? It's in the genes. The genes contain the Huntington's mutation, and chromosomes contain genes. Chromosomes are almost in every cell of our body. But mostly this mutation manifests itself in brain cells. Thus, it affects brain structures. Basal nuclei are the first that suffer. Subcortical structures. Gray substance sits not only in the cerebral cortex, but also in the subcortical structures. The striatum, the head of the caudate nucleus, is the first that suffers, and cells become dystrophic and die. Subcortical structures have lots of connections with the nerves of the cerebral cortex. Due to this, we observe compulsive movements and the disassociation of the cerebral cortex and the subcortical structures. These are the main reasons for mental and intellectual disorders. Dystrophic changes and nerve cell death can be observed not only in subcortical structures, but in the cerebral cortex as well, so the whole brain suffers. This leads to the development of symptoms that every patient has. Do people die because of this disease?
От этого заболевания не погибают, не умирают, не
This disease
страдают
doesn't
жизненно
influence
важные
vital
органы,
organs,
но действительно
but it can lead to lethal
печальный конец может
complications like
наступить вследствие
cardiovascular complications,
осложнений
respiratory
сердечной,
complications,
системы
and to
дыхания,
infections.
присоединившейся инфекции. Ну, во многом здесь все зависит от ухода, от того, каким образом
Much of this depends on the care the patient receives from their
со
relatives.
стороны близких людей, близких родственников. Вот почему
This is why we think that the social aspect is very important in this case.
Любовь – это крылья. Любовь
Love is wings.
– это полет.
Love gives you flight.
Любовь – это то, без чего нет
Life has
смысла
no
жизни.
meaning without it.
Любовь может быть
You can have love for your
своему
husband, for example,
любимому мужу.
marriage certificate. I have a secret. She told me, I have a secret. I'm one in a million.
На 10 тысяч человек.
In 10,000. Yeah, in 10,000.
100 тысяч.
No, in 100,000.
Пускай будет 100 тысяч. Вот, там просто цифра такая была большая.
Anyway, it's a big
И
number.
я говорю, ну, значит, что, мне достался такой редкий экземпляр. Ну,
I said, well, I've met such a rare person. I'm an optimist, so I didn't work myself up about her
А
secrets.
ты разве не думала? Ты мне говорила,
Didn't you
что
tell me you
ты
thought I had a baby?
твой ребенок.
Of
не,
course,
ну,
I had this idea,
ну,
but I didn't
естественно,
understand
как
why it
ты
would be
сказала,
such a
ну,
secret.
ребенок, ну,
It's
чё
life.
это делать, там, тайну, грубо говоря, ничего страшного. То есть все эти жизненные моменты, вот. Ну,
But
потом
then she told me
состоялся
about the
разговор.
Huntingtons.
Как бы долго, конечно, не решалась,
Naturally, she hesitated a lot,
но я просто был даже поражен тем моментом, ну, что человек как бы...
but I was
искренне
amazed at
всё
how
рассказал,
sincere,
то есть
honest, and brave she was.
ничего не скрывает, что потом хоп, и все. То есть просто искал как бы подмогу, и все. А тут действительно сильная девушка, честная. Ну вот она рассказывала. Да единственное, что мне в голову пришло.
The only thing I told her was,
Я
and
говорю, и чё,
That's
и
it?
это все?
Да.
Вот, ну, все, что я сказал. Я говорю, справимся.
I said,
Да,
time will
поживем,
tell.
увидим,
We
время
shall see.
покажет. Ну вот, пока... вроде
Well, so
всё
far,
по-моему
everything's been
показалось.
fine.
Только хорошо.
Yeah, everything is great.
То есть, а ты как бы
You didn't have a chance to meet Irina's mother, did you?
Нет,
No,
не успел.
К сожалению.
unfortunately, he didn't.
Мама начала где-то болеть лет 30.
Mom began to get sick when she was around 30.
Мы с сестрой
My sister and I have been
работали
working
с
since
14
we were
13 лет.
13, 14 years old.
Я тоже нисколько не жалею, потому что
And I have no regrets about this. As a result, I've become more responsible. I've learned to understand my sister and my mom. I've learned to dress myself properly and go to school by myself. If mom can't help you with this, you have to do it on your own.
Мама
Mom raised us alone, so her life was difficult, and on top of it all, she was sick. My sister and I understood this, and we didn't argue. We had no conflicts over the issue. I'm grateful for this. Because of this experience, I'm an independent person. I can plan everything on my own. I can allocate my household budget. I'm a self-sufficient person. If Mom had treated me like a child all the way through my teenage years, I would have been a different person. And I'm a happy person now. Mom taught and showed me great kindness. She showed me that it's possible to overcome and forgive anything. You can overcome any difficulty if you look at it from a different angle. If a woman knows that she is a carrier and understands her baby will also be a carrier, does she feel responsible for the outcome? Of course she does. Besides, women in general are afraid of getting pregnant, since it's a big risk. But we all somehow appeared in the world. I'm alive and I live. Why shouldn't I have the right to live my life? What makes me so different from others? I walk, I live, I enjoy my life. I'm a law-abiding citizen. Why don't I have the right to live? I'm a carrier of this gene as well, but that doesn't kill me. Is Huntington's a new phenomenon in the modern world? No, Huntington's isn't a new phenomenon. In fact, it's been around for several centuries. And Korea, one of the most noticeable disease manifestations, has been around even longer. The first time Korea was mentioned was in the Middle Ages. At that time, the word Korea meant ritual dances that people performed while worshipping saints. The word Korea came from the Greek language, choreo, which means a dance. However, in the 19th century, doctors began to notice a similarity in physical movements in people with motor and mental disorders. So in the 19th century, the study of Huntington's, or what was once known as Huntington's chorea, began. In 1872, a landmark event took place. This is the year when the term Huntington's first appeared. A young American doctor who had just graduated from medical college published an essay titled Chorea in the Philadelphia Medical Journal where he described his experience. And the experience of this young man, who was 22 years old at the time, was really big. He was the son of a doctor, and from the age of 8, he started going to Long Island, which is near New York City, in New York State. He visited different families, the members of which displayed compulsive movements, cognitive and mental disorders.
В сочетании с психическими нарушениями, с нарушениями интеллекта, люди забывали, где они находятся.
People didn't remember where they were. They didn't remember their names, the names of their relatives. George Huntington shared his observation in this small article.
Наблюдения в этой маленькой медицинской статье. И в дальнейшем специалисты
After that, experts from the US and from other countries began to study the disease. They have learned that there were hundreds and even thousands of patients with such symptoms in different countries. This went on until the late 1960s, when America's favorite folk musician Woody Guthrie had died.
Любимец Америки Вуди Гатри, это фолк-музыкант, основоположник.
He was a folk musician and the father of the folk revolution.
Своим учителем его называли такие рок-музыканты, как
Rock musicians such as Bob Dylan, Joan Baez, Pete Seeger, and others called him their teacher. Woody Guthrie died in 1967 in a hospital in Queens, New York.
В Квинсе, штат Нью-Йорк. В 1967 году. Все последние годы с ним находилась его супруга.
In the last years of his life, his wife Marjorie Guthrie was by his side. She watched him as he was slowly dying.
От него ростки жизни, и после его смерти она решила
And after his death, she began to collect information about Huntington's.
по этому заболеванию, болезнь Геттингтона, которой, как выяснилось, страдал ее муж Вуди Гатри, и основала пациентскую организацию.
She then founded the Huntington's Society of America.
Эта организация со временем приобрела такой
This
большой
organization
вес,
managed to build such a good
что
reputation
даже,
and following that it
вышла на
reached
Конгресс
the U.S.
США,
Congress.
И именно благодаря работе, неустанной вот этой работе ежедневной
Thanks to the
Гатри,
tireless work of
удалось
Marjorie Guthrie,
организовать
the Commission for Rare
комиссию
Diseases
по
of the U.S.
орфанным
Congress was
заболеваниям при
founded.
Конгрессе Соединенных Штатов.
Там такие прекрасные вещи.
They do lots of fascinating, wonderful things. They have summer camps and family gatherings.
Я думаю, а чем мы хуже?
Why can't we be just as good as them?
На первой встрече, когда у нас
At the
была
very
самая
first meetings,
первая
doctors told us about the
встреча,
international
мы
patient
доктора
organizations,
показали
about their events.
международные пациентские организации, как они живут. И показали Европу.
They also showed us the map of Europe.
В некоторых городах несколько
In some cities, there are several patient organizations that specialize in Huntington's,
именно этим заболеванием. А у нас в Москве
and Moscow has only one. Since November 2015, our organization has been working with Huntington's patients. We decided that there needs to be a community, a big family, for these kinds of patients. So we began to organize meetings with patients and their relatives. During one of these meetings, we got acquainted with Irina.
Носителем у нас является
The carrier in our family is our mom.
идет заболевание. Для меня
I had never had any doubts
никогда
about
не стоял
whether or not
такой
I should
вопрос,
be
сдавать
tested.
анализ или не сдавать. У меня есть сестра
I have an
старшая,
older
и,
sister, and we both went to the
больше, чем мне. И вот мы
to the
вместе
center to have our
отправились,
samples
в
taken.
центр сдачи и ждали нашего результата. Я надеялась и
I had truly hoped and prayed for my sister.
бы благодарна
I didn't want her to be
всем
the carrier.
Вселенной, Богу, за то, что
If she had been, I
я
would have felt
стала
devastated.
носителем вместо своей сестры. Потому что если бы сестра стала носителем, я бы себя просто-напросто чувствовала дискомфортно.
Меня поразило в ней.
I was amazed by how completely honest she
Она
was,
без страха
how openly and sincerely
рассказывала
she
про свои
talked about her
проблемы, про
disease,
свои
her
страхи,
problems, and her
про своё
fears.
заболевание.
Да, у нас очень
Yes, this is a terrible
страшная
disease.
болезнь. Да,
Yes, our relatives
наши
are still
родные
suffering
до сих
and
пор
dying.
умирают.
И самое
But most
главное,
importantly, she has a
у
great
нее
desire to
есть
help patients
огромное
with the same
желание
disease that
помочь
she
таким
has.
же больным, как и она.
Для меня
For me,
страшно, самое
the worst thing
страшное,
in life
что может быть в жизни, это
is when innocent children die in
на
war.
войне умирают ни в чем не повинные дети. Это война. У нас с вами есть
We
руки,
all have arms and
у
legs.
нас с вами есть ноги. Пусть они не всегда
Perhaps
нас
sometimes they don't listen to us and we can't
слушают,
control
но
them,
на
but
этом
this
может
isn't a reason to
закончиться
stop
наша
living.
жизнь. Мы же ради чего-то пришли на этот
We all
свет,
came into this world
и мы вот
with
так
some
возьмем
purpose,
просто так
and we can't just give up. Not so easily.
никогда.
Задача нашего
Our center's
центра
goal is to unite people with this rare
объединить
disease,
людей, страдающих этим редким заболеванием, в
to
единое
create one big
сообщество,
family,
в
because
одну
when we're
большую
together,
семью,
it's easier to
потому
solve and
что
overcome
вместе,
problems.
сообща, легче решать проблемы. И мы
So we have
позвали
invited
Ирину
Irina to
свои
come work with
знамена.
us.
И сейчас мы реализуем проект
We've established an
межрегиональной
interregional school
школы
of
здоровья
health
для
for Huntington's
пациентов
patients.
с этим заболеванием. И
We've already
провели
held
встречи
numerous
в
meetings
разных
in different
городах
Russian
России.
cities: Moscow,
Это
St. Petersburg, Krasnoyarsk,
Красноярск,
Orenburg,
Оренбург,
Samara, and Ufa.
Уфа.
Ufa, December 2016.
Я мечтаю таких встречах.
Our dream of being able to organize meetings where we can take trips together, go to parks, go on excursions, or just get together.
Какие-нибудь встречи в плане просто посиделок домашних.
Unbutton your shirt a little bit. Here, let me help you.
Еще одну?
Yeah, just a little bit because it looks like a military uniform. Okay, that's good. Are you comfortable like this?
Я вот так
I don't
вот
usually
было,
button
как
up like
Марина
Marina has
Николаевна
buttoned me.
меня застегнула, не хожу.
And how do you usually button up? Just like this. It's because you have a beautiful neck.
Ну да.
Yes, my
Ничего
breasts are beautiful too.
Вообще,
Actually, every part of me is
я
beautiful.
красиво, везде.
My hands, my lips, my nose,
Красивый носик красивый. И ушки красивые. Вы видели, какие
and
у
my
меня маленькие
ears.
ушки?
My ears are so small. Some people say,
Некоторые
"What
люди
small
смотрят
ears you
и
have."
удивляются. Ира, какие у тебя маленькие ушки?
Ugh, I'm in trouble. My ears are big.
Я могу даже...
I can even cry a little bit. This is called artistry. No, that's not what I meant. What do you mean? Well, for example, this morning I cried a little bit while I was thinking about
Появилась, когда я
why I had agreed to go to work with
продумывала,
Marina.
отчего я пошла дальше эту ступеньку учиться, ой, то есть работать с Мариной Николаевной.
Why?
От того, что кроме меня
Because there's
нет.
no one but me to do it.
Дело в том, что не
Really,
каждый
not everyone can just talk
человек,
about this health problem,
способен элементарно
even for their own sake.
даже выйти на контакт, даже ради самого себя. Они
People isolate
закрылись,
themselves and
сидят,
withdraw
и
from
сидят, и
society,
сидят.
and
И мне
that
очень
hurts a
обидно
lot.
за это.
Да,
Yeah, the disease is
Это
terrible
очень
and
страшно,
really
тяжело.
difficult.
но в каждом плохом дне есть хоть маленькая.
But every bad day has a moment of happiness and of hope.
Хорошего счастья.
You just need to learn to see it.
Капелька хорошей надежды. Капелька чего-то хорошего, что просто нужно рассмотреть.
Я живу в этой группе
I've been a member of this group for 4 years, and I've seen and heard a lot during this time.
Каждый человек мне пишет.
Lots
я
of people
всё
write to
читаю.
me.
Я не могу,
I read every
наверное,
single
ни
letter.
одного пропустить.
I ask every person why they've joined the group, and I ask them about their problems, what they're experiencing. I try to help everyone who's in a difficult situation. For example, one mother had joined the group because her son was sick. Her first son hung himself, and the other one was on the edge. She just told me about it, just like that. I worry about every one of them. Some of them have sunk into my heart so much that I can't even describe it. They really have become like my family. I don't even know how it is that we've become so close. But as long as I have strength, I will do my best to help.
Я иду эту дорогу.
This is my path, and I'm going to go through it.
Какой бы ни был
No matter how
сложный
difficult my
поворот,
life
если
gets,
они
despite
меня
all the
трогают,
problems that I have, and I do have them, just like any other person. Sometimes they're sudden, unexpected, and sometimes awful.
Но я иду эту
But I'm going to keep going.
дорогу, и
I'm
буду
not
идти.
stopping no matter how hard it
Как
gets
бы
for me
тяжело
or for
мне не было.
anyone.
Как бы трудно
We need to
нам
stay
не
on this
было,
path and
но
to keep going.
нужно идти, идти и идти.
У меня есть счастливая семья. Я просто понимаю этих людей, которым живется очень тяжело.
I have a happy family, but I understand those people who are in a really difficult situation.
Чуть-чуть облегчить,
I want to help them. I want to ease their suffering, to ease their pain. I want for them to believe in themselves, just like I believe in myself. That's all.
Вот и все.
Если человек умеет улыбаться,
If a person can smile, they can live.
я прошу, если вы меня сейчас услышали,
If you've heard and understood me, all I ask is for your smiles and applause. Not every day can be good, but there is something good in every ordinary day. To learn something new is not to feel abandoned. Don't bury yourself and don't feel left behind. This is what I want to share with you. I want to restore light and hope in people's hearts. I want to see happiness on my friends' faces. I want to see sincere smiles in return. Of course, you can't change your life instantly. Sometimes it's hard to find a reason to live. But if you believe in yourself and your friends, your life will change with your good thoughts. I want to see sincere smiles in return. Of course, you can't change your life instantly. Sometimes it's hard to find a reason to live. But if you believe in yourself and your friends, your life will change with your good thoughts. As for us, we want to create a comfort zone. For those who suffer from Huntington's, it's not our fault that this insidious and treacherous disease is part of our lives. But we need to live, to love, to believe, and walk to face the sun and storm. We open doors for rare people to feel like a family with friends. They are among us, sometimes so helpless, disoriented, and so alone. We've learned to speak openly about how to live in harmony with ourselves. So help each other. Open up, you people. Help each other and yourself. And every step towards the good is taken, and the angel will guide us on this earth.